nothing creates a more friendly, easygoing topic of conversation than bringing up Kevin Spacey. Yep. Nothing awkward about that. Kevin Spacey, of course, who at one point was one of the most respected actors in Hollywood, multi-time Academy Award winner, actually picked by a lot of people, admittedly me at one point, to maybe be a legacy, long-term, ongoing Oscar host. He's a Hollywood historian, all that kind of stuff. Launched kind of Netflix's original streaming stuff with House of Cards. That was the first thing that was really their big foray into, we're going to create our own content. Here's our. Netflix is creating a big television series, House of Cards. House of Cards is great. And then, well, everything hit the fan. We all know about it. And he was kind of run out of town in disgrace. But here's the thing now. He's on a bit of a roll. He's won 2 significant court cases recently. He's got a brand new trailer out. And the question is, 2 questions. Can Kevin Spacey make a comeback? And is Hollywood and the fans of Hollywood ready for him to come back? This comes to us from the folks at the Hollywood Reporter, who wrote the following. Kevin Spacey has nabbed yet another legal victory. Originally ordered to pay $31 million to the House of Cards producer MRC, he's now agreed to a payment of just $1 million. Not only that, but he gets to pay it over multiple years and in installments equal to 10% of his after-tax income. It follows the House of Cards actor being found not guilty in a UK court sexual assault trial in July of 2023. Spacey plays a killer with no moral compass in Peter 5-8, which marks his first leading role since his career imploded amid allegations of sexual misconduct in 2017. And look, all other issues aside, just trying to take the trailer for what it was, I thought it was a very good trailer. It looked like a very interesting movie. I would be, under normal circumstances, really interested in the film. So this brings us back to the question of Kevin Spacey. We live in a society where we often say everybody gets to have their day in court, right? We let it go to court. We presume innocence until proven guilty. That's one of the standard bearers of our entire culture, that we say innocent until proven guilty, all that kind of stuff. Kevin Spacey is knocking win after win out in the world of courts. He's now getting this back. Everything fell apart for him 6 going on 7 years ago, where he basically lost his career for 7 years. So there are 2 separate questions, like I said before, in front of us, and they are separate questions. 1, can he make a comeback? 2, is a lot of the audience ready for him to make a comeback? And I'm torn. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm torn. On the one hand, I've always really liked Kevin Spacey. He's in one of my top 10 all-time favorite films of Usual Suspects. I just love that film. Last film I saw him in was Baby Driver. I really loved him in that. House of Cards, he was brilliant. He's a great actor. He's a great actor. And I don't take personally, and I'm only talking personally, everybody's going to have their own personal feelings about this. I'm only talking about mine. I do not take lightly the fact that he stood trial and a court acquitted him. If we're going to live in a society where we say everybody's innocent until proven guilty, everybody deserves their day in court, and he had his day in court, and it wasn't on some little technicality. They just looked at the court, they heard the argument, and he said, not guilty. Now this thing where originally the producers of House of Cards, who their show imploded because of his stuff and his crap that was going on, they lost out on millions and millions and millions of dollars because their show imploded when he had to go. And so they sued him, and originally he was found liable for $31 million. But now that's come down to just 1. So it's another victory for him. But here's a little bit of a sticker for me. Whether the amount was $31 million, or whether the amount was $1 million, or whether the amount was $1,000, the fact that it was still $1 million still suggests that his conduct was at least partially responsible for the ruination of that show and the financial burden that fell to the creators. So whether it's $31 million or $1 million, at the end of the day, it's his fault. So it's not like he's been completely absolved of things. And now look, this is where it gets really tricky, and we move beyond the conversations of movie stuff and TV and the things that we love. This gets into deeper questions that there are far more qualified people out there than me to render opinions on. But I'll give you my weak opinion for what it is. I'm still really conflicted. You know, the fact that he's won court cases and has been absolved of a lot of different things, I take that very seriously. But at the same time, I mean, he's still $1 million means, yeah, it was still partially your fault. And I don't believe a mistake or a series of them all equally should equal a career death penalty. There's arguments made like with Will Smith, right? I hated what Will Smith did at the Oscars. I thought he needed to be held accountable. I thought there should have been a price to pay. And he was held accountable, and he has paid a price. He's been publicly humiliated globally. He's lost out on tens of millions of dollars of film deals. He had a number of his film projects dropped, and he had to sit and live in that for a number of years. But I also believe at some point he should be able to come back, and now that he's paid a price, does that apply to Kevin Spacey? I don't know. It's still way too fresh for me to say, I've come to my solid final opinion on this. I haven't. I feel very conflicted about it. So, guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, MasterClass. Everyone, it's a new year. So picture that thing that you've always wanted to learn. Now, picture learning it from a person who's literally one of the best in the world at it. And that's what you get with MasterClass. This year, learn from the best to become your best with MasterClass. Don't just talk about improving. MasterClass helps you actually do it. Because MasterClass offers over 180 world-class instructors, so whether you want to master negotiation with Chris Voss like I did, think like a boss with Martha Stewart, or learn the art of storytelling from the man himself, Neil Gaiman, MasterClass has you covered. Because with MasterClass, you get unlimited access to intimate one-on-one classes with the world's best. At MasterClass, there are over 200 classes to pick from, with new classes being added every month. And if you're a viewer of the John Campea Show, you probably love movie making, storytelling, television. So you'd be totally interested in things like screenwriting from Aaron Sorkin, learn developing original TV series from Stranger Things' The Duffer Brothers, or maybe you like the music side of movies, well, you can learn film scoring from Hans Zimmer. And right now, our listeners will get an additional 15% off an annual membership at masterclass.com/Campea. Get 15% off right now at masterclass.com/Campea. masterclass.com/Campea. Chris, I mean, this is not a simple issue.
No.
Right? It's, and he's, I mean, obviously there are people out there now willing to roll the dice on him. They made a movie with him, trailers out now and stuff like that. So there's two separate questions. Can he make a comeback? I think he can. I'm still iffy on whether he should. So I'm going to put the same two questions to you. Given everything that's been transpiring lately, can Kevin Feige make a comeback? And then number two,
Kevin Spacey.
Should he? Sorry, what did I say? Kevin Feige?
Yeah.
Whoa! John Campea, breaking news that Kevin
Feige,
Spacey.
you're doing Marvel stuff.
Getting my Kevins confused. Ken Spacey. We just say Kevin Feige a lot. And should Kevin Spacey be able to make a comeback? I don't know. How are you feeling about it?
I hate when we have these topics so much because people do view everything in such a black and white and binary way, where opinion becomes fact, and it's so uncomfortable constantly because I can only tell you guys my opinions on how I feel about this, even though a court has come to this conclusion. You know, so many people who came forward about stuff that happened when they were minors makes me very, very concerned. I don't know if he should have a comeback or if that's what people are ready for. And this never negates how people are viewed as actors from their past work, right? I can think that Kevin Spacey did wonderful work in American Beauty. I can think that Ezra Miller did fantastic work. Ezra Miller is a fantastic actor.
Very good actor. Excellent actor.
Will Smith has delivered wonderful performances. I can think that so many Weinstein-produced films have great merit, but it doesn't negate the fact that then bad things went on to happen with a lot of these people, some severely worse than others. So for me, I don't know if I personally would want to go see Kevin Spacey back on late night talk shows, talking about his time as a stand-up, talking about his time doing theater. I don't know if I would be ready for that as an audience viewer, but that's because of my own personal views and biases, and also because, you know, the legal system too, it's very hard for victims to come forward. Typically, studies have shown it's so hard for male victims to come forward, and it's just been such a upsetting read, researching through all of this, seeing the people's testimonies and everything. It's always upsetting to see victims have to put themselves in this position. Obviously, on the inverse of that, a false accusation can ruin someone's life if it is somebody who's just falsely accusing somebody of things. So it's a very complicated issue. It's just one for me where I don't know, as an audience member, I would be ready to see him in things. I already had a conflicting time seeing Baby Driver because I was late to the game to it. But again, great in that movie.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how I feel about him. And I know that so many people can separate the art from the artist and all of that. I'm personally somebody who does struggle with that sometimes of, do I want to support your work? Do I want to support you in your endeavors? Because I am slightly, in a very tiny way, helping pay for things through residuals, through brand deals, through box office. So I typically tend to really have to ruminate on that. But that's not to say that's what anyone else should do. I just don't know if the court of public opinion will give him that break too. You know, Mel Gibson started to make movies again. Some people are on board with that. Some people aren't.
Yeah. It's the box office ultimately, but
Yeah.
there are also allegations, not even like legal allegations, but just complaints that he was kind of like toxic on the work environment.
Well, that's been around a long time, right?
And then that's, to me, up to the production company of, do they want to take that risk? And then if he keeps running afoul and growing that reputation now that he's back,
Exactly.
then they'll just stop working with him.
For sure. Because part of the UK case was he describes himself as, well, I'm such a flirt. And that gets me in trouble. Well, and if you're a victim of harassment, a lot of times things start out as, it was harmless flirting, it was joking, it was this. And it's not a joke or harmless until somebody points it out. And it's about how it's received. So, yeah, I think that's a
Maybe
great
he
point.
needs a handler or something like that, you know? I don't know.
Something. Yeah, it's up to the sets, too, to decide. That's a great point.
See, I've never really, and I know this isn't a popular opinion, I've never cared about whether someone is an asshole. Like like when the whole stuff with Jonathan Majors was starting to come out, and all of a sudden people started coming out of the woodwork, it's like, he was a real jerk on the set of this, and he was really mean on the set of this. I honestly don't care. I don't care if somebody's mean or a jerk or an asshole. Are you doing your job? Are you breaking the law? Those are my two things, right?
That's the thing. When it's a actual crime.
Yes, that's where
when
it's different.
But
yeah, I can think that somebody's a jackass. You guys have heard my opinions of certain actors doing certain things where I go,
Yes.
that's not for me. I'm not on board with that. But I don't think they should be canceled. That's just my own personal opinion.
On a personal, and I agree with you, but also if I was a producer or director and you were too, and suddenly you have people coming at you saying, I can't work here anymore because of actor
Well, yeah.
A,
Well, I mean, if it gets to that level,
then it's like, okay, I can't
Yeah.
work with this guy in the
yeah,
future.
but if it's crime, if it's harassment, if
that's
it's endangering people on your set, then yeah, there's no wiggle room there because they're a liability.
All right, guys. The question is for you, and this is, I know everybody's going to act like they know exactly what should happen with Kevin Spacey. Intelligent people will know that there should be a little bit of ambiguity here. We don't know. It's still really fresh. This is still unfolding. But how do you feel about this right now? Do you think he can make a comeback? Do you think he should make a comeback? It's going to be interesting to see how people evolve their own feelings. I'm curious to see how my own feelings about this are going to evolve over the coming months. Leave your thoughts down below. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.